So I'd just like to begin by welcoming everyone to the Insider's Guide to Choosing a Continuing Care Retirement Community. There are a few housekeeping items that we'd just like to cover off the top. Everyone is on mute, but we welcome your questions, and you can submit those in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. This presentation is being recorded, and a copy, along with a link to a PDF version of the Insider's Guide to Choosing a Continuing Care Retirement Community workbook, will be sent to everyone who registered a few days following the presentation. We welcome your suggestions on how to improve and also suggestions for topics on future presentations. So I'd like to introduce you to our insiders today. April Bourdon is the Executive Director at Riverwoods Manchester, who began her position in November of 2020 and brought more than 11 years experience in senior living from 2 communities on the seacoast of New Hampshire. And we are so thrilled to have her with us and look forward to a bright future, innovating and growing. And Cathleen Toomey is the Vice President of Marketing for the Riverwoods Group and has been since 2007. She began her career in agency work in New York City and went on to build brands like Lenders and Stonyfield. She's a graduate of Fairfield University and Fordham University, and has this very fascinating TED Talk called The Secret to Success. I blinked out, I'm sorry.
Secret to Successful Aging.
And yeah, no, I had it. But the most exciting innovation to come out of her post at the Riverwoods Group recently is a podcast called Seniority Authority. It just launched. So I encourage everyone to log on to iTunes or
Spotify
or Apple iTunes and download yours today.
Thank you for that promo, Kim.
Yeah, sorry. Can we start over?
That's okay.
Take it away.
Is a little too long. We're a little punch happy here. It feels like a Monday, but it's actually a Tuesday. So welcome, everyone. I'm with the Riverwoods Group, as Kim said. And for those of you who don't know Riverwoods, we are the largest family of nonprofit continuing care retirement communities in Northern New England. So we started, our first community opened in 1994 in Exeter. Was the idea of 2 really brilliant women. And it has grown since there. So part of our family includes Riverwoods Exeter, which has 3 campuses, Riverwoods Manchester, which we're so excited to have. We just renamed Riverwoods Manchester. So hopefully you've heard about it or seen our ads. And Riverwoods Durham, which opened in 2019. Then we have this little thing called SPE, which is our very corporate way of saying someplace else. Mm-hmm. We know that our mission is to bring this way of life to as many people as possible. So SPE just means we are always thinking about where we are growing, how we can bring this way of life to more people. Don't have anything on the drawing board yet, but we will. And I'd like to introduce April to tell you a little bit more about Riverwoods Manchester.
Yes, thank you, Kathleen. So Riverwoods Manchester. So we have a long-standing history in the town of Manchester, over 100 years. We started off as Pearl Manor, transitioned to Hillcrest Terrace. Most recently, we were Birch Hill, and now finally our Riverwoods Manchester. So our community became a CCRC back in 2009. We are a Type B contract, which we will explain a little bit further in this presentation. In 2016, we joined Riverwoods, the largest not-for-profit family of CCRCs in Northern New England. And like we said, last month, we officially changed our name. We've been very excited to finally become part of the Riverwoods family. Recently, we have completed, Riverwoods probably put about $16 million of renovations into our community. So it looks absolutely stunning, and hope everybody gets the chance to come in and see those renovations. We do have immediate availability. So at this point right now, we don't have a long wait list. unlike our sister communities. And we have actually had quite a bit of interest in our community. So I'm hoping that that wait list will come soon enough. We are located in a beautiful country setting. We're 10 minutes from downtown Manchester, but you wouldn't know it. We are right across the street from a 600-acre nature conservancy, and we're tucked away on a hill, so it's a beautiful space.
Yes, for those of you who haven't been to see Riverwoods Manchester, it is pretty gorgeous. And we'll be talking about wait lists later on because CCRCs have grown in popularity. So right now, no, we're going to talk about the agenda.
Right, so I'll take that. So today we're going to talk about a few things. Facts about aging today and what's different. Why is today's aging population different? We're going to go over the CCRC concept and the lifestyle and what that means. We'll look at the 3 different types of contracts and what you're actually paying for within those. And we'll talk about the options for senior living. What are your options and what is the best option for you? And then, as both Kim and Kathleen had said, questions and answers, that will be the best part at the end.
So let's set the table for this conversation. I'm so excited that we have so many people listening today. And I want to start out by saying, what is different about aging today? Why are you here? Why are you looking to learn more about this? Well, number one, you're smart because you're planning ahead. Number two, you may realize that the world has changed dramatically. So this is a chart of the US Census, and it shows the age wave. This is basically the boomers who are now creeping into retirement age. And this is where we are. This is the number of 75-year-olds. So it is growing precipitously. And we have 10,000 people in the US every day turning 70. 10,000 a day turning 70, and that's going to go on for the next 18 years. So an unprecedented number of older adults are here in the United States. What else is different? They're living longer. So that's good. We know statistically that today, if you live to be 65, you can expect to live to 84. And if you make it to 84, you will probably live to 92. So in our industry, we say the longer you live, the longer you live. And people today are there's not only more of them who are retirees, but they are also living longer than ever before, thanks to modern medicine. What most people don't understand is the flip side of that, which is the workforce. So you may have seen ads for, go to Dunkin' Donuts, you go to a drugstore, everybody's hiring, right? Well, that is also a fact of the United States, where the number of people in our workforce aged 20 to 64 for every retiree is dropping precipitously. So in 1950, there were 7.2 people in the workforce for each retiree. That is dropped. 2011, it was 4 people in the workforce for every retiree. 2050, it's 2 people in the workforce for every retiree. Why does this matter to you? Well, I will bet that there is a number of folks who are listening to this presentation whose plan is, I'm going to stay at home and bring in care. If that's your plan, that is going to be hard to obtain and costly, more costly than you may imagine. And this means not for people in the workforce that have chosen the very super sexy long-term care industry to work in. That's 4 people in total. So the number of people in the workforce is dropping, and this is not the most attractive work option. So just to put it out there that the workforce is going to have an impact on your plans for aging.
So, well, this slide talks a little bit about facts about aging. So how likely is it that you will need care? Studies show that 70% of American couples older than 65 will need some sort of form of long-term care. And I would say most people are shocked by that number. That's a high percentage.
Yeah, this is the slide that, or the fact that most people are surprised about. And so 70% of us are going to need long-term care, but the question then becomes, how long is that long-term care? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? So we went to some long-term care analysis that the government does, and 20% of today's 65-year-olds will need long-term care for more than 5 years. And 7% of women will need nursing home care for more than 5 years. And that is, the nursing home care is the most expensive care. So it's really great that you're here listening to this, because so many people don't want to hear about what's going to happen as they age. So it's not necessary that you're going to be in long-term care for 5 years, but you don't know. So the key is you have to make a plan, right?
So another factor for us to consider is 32% of people age 85 or older have Alzheimer's, and the cost of having Alzheimer's disease is estimated to be $350,000. It's extremely expensive, and we all know that the prevalence rate of Alzheimer's has just increased over time. So certainly, as we get older, the likelihood of Alzheimer's is increasing.
And that's challenging because, you know, people can be very healthy with Alzheimer's and live a long time. So, you know, that's a challenge. And going back to what we were talking about before, if you know that 70% of people over 65 are going to need long-term care, you would think that you would start looking at those costs, but it's not a fun topic to talk about. So AP North did a study about costs and found that 58% of adults over 40 underestimate what nursing home costs are, and 31% underestimate what assisted living costs are. So it's easy to understand. You know, you want a new phone and you look at the different models and decide what you want. You want a new car, you look around. Not many people are browsing nursing homes to say, I wonder what this is going to cost me. So you're ahead of the game, and we've done the homework for you. So this is the Genworth Cost of Care survey from 2019. They do it every couple of years. And this is just the median cost of a private home in Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. You can see over 125,000 in Maine, same in New Hampshire, and higher in Massachusetts. And that was 2019. So the costs based on the all the factors of the growing population, the shrinking workforce, costs are not going to go down. They're going to go up. So you know you need it. Now you know how much it costs. Now you have the ability to start planning for that. And are you covering this slide, April, or am I?
Sure. Yeah. We mixed it up. So
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So many home care companies are starting wait lists. So if we're thinking we're gonna, take care of ourselves and stay at home and have those home care companies take care of us, many of them are having that dwindling workforce, like Kathleen stated, and struggling to have staffing. So that is something to consider. Costs can range from $20 to $40 an hour and higher for weekend and evening non-nursing care. So those costs can increase significantly and quickly. 24/7 care for 1 week can be over $5,000 or more, and that is all private pay. Long-term care insurance, Medicare, other things do not pay for those costs. And if this is your plan, you need to investigate now. How are you going to pay for that? You know, what happens when nursing is needed? So if you are at home and having home care, you know, and something progresses, you know, what's the plan once nursing is actually needed?
So the key question, and again, I can't compliment you enough for being on and getting information. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. If you know you need long-term care, where you're going to get it, what is it going to cost, and who's going to provide it? So let's talk about that. Some of you may have Medicare or long-term care insurance. As many of you probably know, most long stays and assisted living are not Medicare eligible. Right now, you need a 3-night admittance into a hospital, not under observation, but admitted, to get your 100 days of Medicare coverage. A number of people have long-term care insurance. We love that. We consider that a bridge to the future because it gives you some financial coverage for a fixed amount of time. So that's awesome. And you can use your long-term care insurance in a CCRC if you choose. But long-term care insurance doesn't answer the question of where the service is going to be provided. So CCRCs are the only option that answer the question, what is your long-term care going to cost? What is the quality? What's the availability? And where you're going to get it? Is there a space guaranteed for you when you need it in a place that you'd want to go? And I think I just took your slide, April.
That's okay.
So,
No worries.
sorry about
Catherine's
that.
a pro.
Sorry. So we're gonna, this is our first combo.
Yes.
So what we're gonna do, and now I'm gonna talk. So what we're gonna do is talk about continuing care retirement communities across the country. And this is all gonna be general because there are many options, and the book you're going to receive, which I love having a little free book for every presentation, is you can take that book and go anywhere in the country and it will help you make a decision if the CCRC is for you or not. So let me give you a little background. There's 1,900 CCRCs across the country, and we've been around as an industry for 100 years. Primarily not-for-profit. Some are faith-based or affinity-based, and some are community-based. And then there's a very small percentage that are for-profit. And we have, there are some constants with CCRCs. So in general, the CCRC, you enter when you are independent. So you don't need any help. You can live safely on your own. You have to be at least 62 years or older. And a CCRC provides at least 3 levels of care: independent, assisted, and some form of nursing care, and some also have memory care. Once you're in a CCRC, you can transition as your needs dictate. So you can go from independent to assisted and back to independent. It is a fluid process. The door does not lock behind you if you need assisted living. You have services and amenities at every level, and those change depending on your level of need. And there are always 2 fees: an entrance fee, which is a one-time fee that can be refundable or not, and a monthly service fee. And a portion of these can be tax deductible. And for all CCRCs, the price differential is based on the size of home you choose. So the larger the home, the larger the entrance fee and monthly service fee. So factually, that's what happens. From a experiential standpoint, you have the opportunity to meet new friends, pursue new interests. You do not have to do the work of taking care of a home. So you have that ability. And with nonprofit CCRCs in New Hampshire, you have the opportunity for benevolence. If you outlive your assets, you can apply to the community to cover your needs. So these are two of our
Amazing.
most fun Riverwoods Manchester residents. They are sorority sisters, Carrie and Nancy. So you can tell they're not worried about who's going to unplug the bathroom when it, or the toilet when it overflows. So what is a CCRC? It looks like a beautiful over 55 condo community, but in fact, a CCRC is an insurance product. It is not a real estate transaction. Our contracts are regulated in the state by the Department of Insurance. Each state has a different, it's either Department of Insurance or Health and Human Services that overlooks the contracts. We report our financial progress to the state annually. And because it's an insurance product, the government considers that you are prepaying and insuring for your own healthcare needs. So a portion of your one-time entrance fee and your monthly fee can be tax deductible, which is fantastic as we're all thinking about taxes right now. It can be less of a tax burden to you. It's also a lifestyle choice. You enter when you need no help. You are independent, driving your car, doing whatever you need to do, but you are free from home maintenance. You have access to transportation if you need it on a bad snowy day. You have activities, programs, a beautiful fitness center right outside your door, and increased social options, which I think we all realize after this year of pandemic, how important social connections are, even in a pandemic. But the most important thing, the most important reason, in my opinion, for choosing a CCRC is that you are in control of your options. You have made the decision that if and when you need care, you know where you're going to get it, who's going to provide it, and what it's going to cost. And I think staying in control of your choices is the most important thing when we think about our next chapter. That's me. I'm a control enthusiast. So hold on one second. I am not just a control enthusiast. I'm having a little trouble with my slides. Okay. So this is Z, a Riverwoods Manchester resident who's in our raised garden beds. You don't have to give up anything. You can garden, you can do woodworking. So in CCRC, your typical services are 1 meal a day, inside and outside maintenance. So if a light blows in the ceiling, someone will come and fix it. Housekeeping, transportation, access to wonderful fitness classes, programs, and committees. You have access to a nurse practitioner in our wellness center and our complete health center, which is right in the same building. You don't have to worry about utilities or property taxes. It's a one bill kind of thing. This is Len, who is kayaking in Doors Pond, right nearby. So one way to think about CCRCs, because I think a lot of people don't understand the concept, is it's an umbrella of one home or organization where you have multiple levels of care. And at Riverwoods Manchester, we do have independent living, assisted living, memory care, and nursing care right within the community. So for those of you who are looking at different CCRCs, this is an important screen because it talks about the three major types of contracts. And as I said before, you walk into a CCRC and it doesn't look like an insurance product. It looks like a beautiful condo community. So a lot of people can get confused. I think they're renting and they think this is all about the contract. There are three major types of CCRCs across the country, an A, a B, and a C. We're going to go through those very quickly. And for those of you who have more questions, pop them in the chat, pop them in the Q&A. We will get to them before the end of the program. And also the book that you'll be getting after this has got a lot more detail in it. But basically, a type A or an all-inclusive contract there is an entrance fee. And many of the entrance fees are refundable. What does that mean? That means if you leave the community or when you pass away, a portion of your one-time entrance fee is returned to your estate. So if you put money down and it's a 70% refundable contract, you get 70% of your entrance fee back when you leave or if you pass away. There's a monthly fee, which again is dependent on the size of your home. You have full access to healthcare. Your insurance is covered completely, and most type A's are nonprofit. Let's flip to type B, because that's the biggest difference. Type C. A type C CCRC generally does not have an entrance fee. It's very inexpensive. There is a monthly fee. It can be month-to-month monthly service fee, but it also is dependent on the size. There is limited and sometimes no access to healthcare, but there is definitely no insurance. So your insurance is not covered as type C. All you have is a rental contract, and you can go to a healthcare community that's connected, but there is no insurance. So you will be paying market rate. And this is where most of the for-profit organizations are. Some not-for-profit, but a lot of for-profit are here. A type B is in the middle. So there's a one-time entrance fee and it can be refundable. There's monthly fee, again, connected to the size of your home. You have access to healthcare and you have a defined insurance portion. So how type Bs work is you, in a type A, you pay one monthly fee. And if you go to healthcare, that fee does not change. It's the same fee. You just pay 2 more meals a day. In a type B, you're going to have a lower entrance fee generally and a lower monthly service fee than a type A. Then when you go to healthcare, you're going to pay slightly more. It's not going to be market rate, but it will be slightly more. So this is a great option for people who have long-term care insurance that's helping them to cover the costs of long-term care, or people that don't want to pay for care until they need it. So that is the sweet spot for a type B, and most type Bs are nonprofit. So that's a quick overview of the kinds of contracts. Now I'm going to break from talking about all CCRCs. I'm just going to talk about Riverwoods Manchester, because we have a contract that no one else in New Hampshire has. We are a type B contract, and we have the first 70% flexible contract in New England. So what this means is you have a one-time entrance fee that is 70% refundable. Typically, in a CCRC, that money cannot be accessed by you during your lifetime. It only goes to your estate after you pass away. But we got permission last year from the state to offer a new contract. This contract means you have a 70% refundable entrance fee, one-time entrance fee. You can draw down on that entrance fee while you are in healthcare to cover your healthcare costs, which is incredible. So that means if you move to Riverwoods Manchester, you have a great experience, you're in independent living, but at some point you need assisted living, you formally transition to assisted living and you're staying there, the additional cost that the monthly service fee includes can be drawn down from your refund. So it means your cash flow is not interrupted. It's more affordable. It's a better value for couples, and it provides greater predictability to you. The advantage of a type A is that it's predictable. We turned this type B into a predictable working pot of money for you during your lifetime. You can also use your long-term care benefit. So this is a really breakthrough contract, and we have found a lot of people have been very interested in it. You never know what's going to happen when you move to a CCRC. So these are Riverwoods Manchester residents, and Stan actually was my neighbor before he moved to Riverwoods Manchester, and he met another resident on a photo shoot, on a marketing photo shoot, and 2 years ago they got married. So you never know what is in store for you when you open up your future to this idea. One of the things, and I have to apologize, this presentation is really nuts and bolts. So we're really talking about contracts and options and providing you with some choices. We're not really talking much about the lifestyle. That is for other presentations. But the one thing I wanted to share with you is this fabulous study that Harvard University did. It's the world's most comprehensive longitudinal study. They followed a cohort of men from Harvard and a cohort of men from Boston for 75 years to understand what makes for a long, healthy, and happy life. Is it diet? Is it exercise? Is it marriage? Is it spirituality? Is it financial success? And shockingly for Harvard, for a 75-year study, they boiled it down to one message. And that is, good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period. It's our connections to people. So whether you're married or not, it's your social connection that determines your happiness and your healthiness as you age. It's impossible not to make connections at Riverwoods Manchester. People are friendly, people are outgoing. Introverts do flourish here because people respect boundaries, but you have that ability to just be known by folks, which is really powerful. How many people do you know at 83 that say, I have a new best friend? So if this is interesting to you, in CCRCs, there are only two things you need to do to understand if you qualify. One is a health assessment. So a health assessment is done just to find out if you are independent. We have a small assessment that's done by our nurse practitioner. We go through your medications and your background, and there's a small cognitive test, and every community does it differently. So some CCRCs will preclude you from coming if you have a history of falls or if you have a diagnosis of Parkinson's, or so check the CCRC you're looking at. Some, if you have certain diseases, they will not be open to you. At Riverwoods Manchester, we don't work that way. You come to us, you can have a diagnosis, we will talk to you. As long as you're independent and you can get out safely, then you're welcome here. The challenge for many people is that if you're a couple and you've been together for a long time, you're good with names, he's good with faces, we do have to assess you separately. And sometimes that's where we find some significant cognitive loss that the couple did not know about. So that would be the only reason really that you wouldn't be qualified. So I always say to folks, if you're interested and you're really focused on a CCRC, get the health assessment and make sure that you can get in. The financial assessment is also very simple. You fill out a form, 2-page form, your income, your assets, your age, and then we project your spending through your lifetime. And we plug in the type of apartment that you're interested in, apartment or cottage, because that will determine the spending. So very, very simple. I think if any of you have read Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, I think we are at a tipping point for CCRCs. So we've been around 100 years. But right now is our moment. Why? A number of factors. We have better health care. That means we have increased medical costs and increased longevity. Means we have a higher lifetime medical and long-term care costs than any other generation. Our grandparents did not get new knees and new hips and go on to do hiking and river cruises. That just didn't happen. That's happening now. Boomers are asking more out of their life. Also, we've got the sandwich generation. So we have people that got married later, are raising kids later. There are dual career couples. So no longer do we have that traditional mom stay at home. She can run around the corner of the neighborhood to check on grandma and grandpa because she's working and your children are likely not in the same town. They may not be in the same state. They may not be in the same country that you are because their careers are taking them in different places. And you're different. You are not interested in relying on your kids to make your decisions and take care of your care. You want to make your own decisions and be in control of those choices. So because of that, your desire for control, your longer lifetime healthcare and medical care costs, CCRCs are really the answer. They provide you the independence and they provide you the comfort and guarantee that your costs are covered. So we're about wrapping up and of our formal presentation. We're just about to start the fun part of the questions and answers. But before we do, I have been thinking about you. This has been my passion for 14 years. And I've figured you have 5 choices. Number 1, you can stay at home and be an immortal teenager, which means you're going to stay at home and never need any services, never need any help. And one day you're just going to wake up dead. Nothing is going to happen to you. And that is my father's plan. He's currently in the hospital. He's been hospitalized 3 times this year. He is, but he is a planner who could not imagine that he would ever need care. The second is stay home and anticipate services. So this is the bunker mentality. This is, I am staying in my home and I'm going to be independent and I am bringing in care. I'm going to bring in housekeeping and I'm going to bring in a lawn guy and I'm going to bring in somebody to fix the roof and I'm going to bring in somebody to fix the plumbing. And if I need care, I'm going to bring that into because I am staying in my home. Very popular with New Englanders. We're very reliant people, self-reliant people. If that's your plan, remember this inverted triangle of the workforce. If you want to stay home and bring in services, start doing your research and contact home care companies now. Find out what their costs are, then project and find out if they have a waiting list. Cohabitation is a great option if it's your first boyfriend or girlfriend. But if it's cohabitation when you are 70 and your kids are 50 and you're going to move in with them, if that's your plan, tell them. Share that information with your kids. Tell them, this is my plan. When I need care, I'm going to move in with you. And just, again, have that conversation. I guarantee you, your kids are thinking about what your options are. So no matter what you decide, bring them into the conversation. The 4th option, go straight to assisted living or nursing home when it's a crisis. That is not a great choice. As we all know, if you wait until a crisis, then your choices are limited. And if 1, 2, or 3 doesn't work, and that's your plan, and something happens where you need more help than you and your family can provide, you have to go directly into assisted living or nursing home and pay the market rate. The 5th option is for the planners. It's for people who want to be in control of their choices. You come in, you do give up your home. You give up your home of 40 years and a lot of stuff, and you move in to have a bigger life. You let go of your stuff and you gain friends, activities, interests, and the security and peace of mind that if and when you need care, you've got it covered. So that is the formal part of our program. And now we have the fun part of the questions. So we have, this is a great question from Betsy. What are ALF and SNF? So, you know, we all hate acronyms. AL typically in our industry refers to assisted living, and SN typically refers to skilled nursing. And I really hate the term skilled nursing because then that presumes that all other nursing isn't skilled. Skilled nursing is a term that the government created that refers to a certain level of nursing care, which is generally the higher level of care. Assisted living is a different level of care. So there are, the way we talk about care is there are activities of daily living, which are eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, etc. And when you need help with one or more of those, that's typically when you need assisted living. So that's the answer to that question. We have another question, and please feel free, just pop your questions in the Q&A. I know you have questions, and I want your hardest questions. This is stump April and I.
Right, we're ready.
And while we're waiting for everyone to type their questions in, I'll just take a moment and remind everybody that as Kathleen mentioned, this presentation doesn't really cover a lot about the lifestyle at a CCRC. So if you are curious about the lifestyle at Riverwoods Manchester, we would invite you to register for a lunch and learn. We have one on May 12th at 12 o'clock, and you can register for that right on our website, rwmanchester.org.
Great, and we have a couple of questions that are coming up. Yes, I would absolutely encourage you to do the lunch and learns, because part of what we do there in the lunch and learns is to give you the opportunity to meet with actual residents. So you have a chance to understand from them what their life is like. And they were in your shoes. How did they make this decision? What motivated them? I also want to go back.
They're very happy to share with you, you know, the ins and outs of the days, how they spend their days and what they do and the interactions that they have with other residents here and why they are happy creating those relationships. Like Kathleen said, you know, that number one quote was creating relationships, making yourself, you know, happy, period, right? The lunch and learns are definitely an excellent way for you to see what happens on the inside of our community.
Great, and I see we have a number of new folks, and we've got a number of questions around the prices. So let me pull up the price sheet. And what I do want to also emphasize is, you know, I'm not the only one that thinks CCRCs are at the tipping point. If you have done any research with CCRCs lately, you will realize that most of them have wait lists. So we are very unusual that we don't have a wait list. We've taken a number of apartments offline to update them. So this is a really great opportunity. So I want to just give you, because I have 3 people who have asked about the price list. So Riverwoods Manchester is extremely affordable. This is right now our price list for this year. Prices go up in July of every year. So you can get in to this community for as low as a $208,000 entrance fee and a monthly fee of $2,866. So remember that this $208,000 entrance fee is 70% refundable during your lifetime. So as I said, it goes from 208,000 to a high of 573 for a cottage, and a high of 5,000 for a monthly service fee. But you can see what the costs are. This includes 1 meal a day. This includes all your fitness classes, your programming, and your wellness clinic visits. We also, within Riverwoods Manchester, we have 30 free days every year within healthcare. 30 free days every year that you are independent, that you can go into the healthcare without being charged just to, for example, if you get pneumonia and you just need to get a little stronger, that's what will happen. Okay, we have another question. What can we expect from long-term care insurance at a community like Riverwoods Manchester? So in Riverwoods Manchester, you can use, and this is the guide you're going to be getting, you can use your long-term care insurance when you are in the health center, and the long-term care insurance pays you while you're in the health center. And then you can also use your benefit from your entrance fee. When you apply to Riverwoods Manchester, we would just ask you for your top sheet for your long-term care insurance, and we would include that in your submission. Another question about what is the percentage of tax deductibility for Riverwoods Manchester? In 2020, the tax deductibility of the year that you move in, you have 10% of your entrance fee is tax deductible, and 7% of your monthly service fee every month is tax deductible. So that is very significant, as we all know, going into tax season. A question about pets. We are very pet friendly, and you can bring your pet, you can bring your dog. We have no limits on size or breed. And so you can bring your pet into Riverwoods Manchester. Other questions, what do people have? Because I have one last question, and that's about it. So if you have any questions and you're being shy, please pop them in the Q&A. The last question is, are there any major changes to the community associated with the name Riverwoods Manchester? We have been connected to, we've been connected together for 5 years. So this is really more of a formalization that Riverwoods Manchester is part of the Riverwoods family. There's no major changes, no changes to the contract. This is still a Type B contract, which we're really proud to have in our portfolio. And it's just really a positive experience that everyone now has the same name. And thank you. I have another question. In a couple, how does one using healthcare affect the living location? That is a great question. So what happens is if you're a couple and you age differently, and as everyone does, and you get ill differently, and you are in your independent apartment, you keep your independent apartment, and the spouse that needs healthcare goes down the hall to their independent private apartment. And that's another thing I forgot to mention is it's very hard these days to get a private room in a health center, and we have all guaranteed private rooms. So you stay in your independent home, your spouse stays in their independent apartment within the healthcare lodge, which is right down the hall. So you don't have to battle the weather or drive 45 minutes to see your spouse if your spouse needs assisted living. And again, with our contract, in independent living, you have 30 free days every year that you are independent to use the health center. But that's how we handle couples. Great question. Any more questions? Okay. Okay. Love with all the over 62s. Are you planning any intergenerational communities such as in Scandinavia? Nursery schools on site, college nearby, etc. That's awesome. That's an awesome question. And you don't have to get married or fall in love when you come to Riverwoods Manchester. It's just an option that you have available to you. We would love to do intergenerational communities. And in fact, we have a lot of kids that work at Riverwoods Manchester. High school students are typically our servers. And we have some relationships with St. A's where their professors come over and do lectures. Back pre-COVID, we were able to do that. But we don't yet have a new community planned with a nursery school on site. There's a lot of challenges with insurance and that kind of thing. So not at this moment. Okay, and then I have another question. Which fees are per person? Which are per unit, even for a couple? Okay, so let's go back to, and please keep the questions coming. Let me just go back to the price list here. So as you can see, the end, two people do live cheaper than one, I would have to say, in a CCRC. So if you wanted a 1-bedroom Aspen, which we have some available, you would pay an entrance fee of $208,000, and that's 70% refundable. If you are with your spouse or a partner or a second person, that second person pays a one-time fee of $26,000. So that is the fee for your entrance fee, and that goes with any of these apartments. So if you move into a Dogwood, the entrance fee is $261,000. The second person one-time entrance fee is $26,000. Then your monthly fee as one person is $2,866 as one person. And if you have a partner or a second person with you, all they pay is $798 a month. Whoops, sorry. I switched that. So it's very, very affordable for two people. It is not twice as expensive. So I hope that answers that question. If it doesn't, let me know. Okay. Question. If Riverwoods Manchester eventually offers type A contracts, what happens to the existing type B contracts? We are not changing our contract. We are very happy that we have a type B contract. We have one of the most innovative, creative contracts you will find in this state. And we are very proud of that. And we feel like that's a real advantage to our residents. So the type B contracts aren't going away. Okay, another question. Assets of a single person entering for 1 bed. We don't have any studios in answer to the question. We do have 1 bedrooms. And in terms of the assets, everybody wants to know that question, like, what's the number? How much do I need to get in? And the question is, it depends. Everybody's assets are different. Some people have more investments than others. So we don't have a rule of thumb. You just fill out a very, very easy 2-page summary, and we will tell you if you qualify or not. So the 1 bedroom is our smallest. Question about reserving now for future occupancy. Right now we are only taking wait lists for people for apartment categories where we're sold out. So we are encouraging people to move in sooner rather than later. And we're not really taking a wait list unless there are no openings. So that's kind of where we are. Our sister communities, Riverwoods Exeter and Riverwoods Durham, do have wait lists that go from 3 years to 5 years. And many CCRCs in New Hampshire now have wait lists just because of the demand and the growth of interest in CCRCs. But right now we have immediate occupancy. If you're interested and you don't want to move for a few years, give us a call and we'll talk and you'll decide what apartment you're interested in. Believe me, we talk with people for years and years about, oh, sorry, I'm now doing too many things. So I apologize. I'm all over the place here. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. Sorry about this. So most CCRCs have long wait lists. We do not, but we also know that it takes people a long time to make a decision. So we're very, very comfortable talking to people now who are interested in moving in a few years. We are not a hard sell organization. We are encouraging people to look and be aware of all that there is, especially the contracts, and to know their choices. So feel free to come and talk to us. And those were all of the questions. I think we are doing really well. It's almost 11 o'clock, you know? So if anyone has a last question, they want to pop it in the Q&A, feel free to do that. I'm also going to encourage you to really consider signing up for Wednesday, May 12th, 12 to 1, where you can talk to the real people that are all excited about this, our residents. So please feel free to sign up here. And if you're interested in podcasts, go to Seniority Authority on iTunes or Spotify and download our brand new podcast, which is 14 days old and is in the top 10% of new podcasts. So please join us there and put your questions into the podcast too. We have a question about how do we get the guide, and Kim, are we emailing that, or we're emailing the guide to people?
Yes, there will be a link to a PDF that is hosted on our website in just a few days, along with a copy of the recording for this presentation.
And if anyone is interested in getting multiple copies of the guide, just pop your email, just send us an email and we're happy to send you or your family members or anyone else copies of this guide. And I think that was it. So thank you everyone for joining today. And April, I want to give you an opportunity to say goodbye because I got to go over there. I'm sorry about that. I'm a little bit of a motor
so
mouth.
much. I appreciate being part of this and look forward to eventually meeting some new, maybe potential residents here at Riverwoods, Manchester. Thanks for your time today.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.